to the bush crying, oh Lord, I got dead. It's Maya and short, she running out the house. Forget she's scared of.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dialogue here on JCN. I am very, very happy this evening because I am out in our absolute beautiful Bahamas, and it is because we are discussing National Coastal Awareness Month, which is going on right now, April 2011, and I've got with me three of the wonderful members from the National Coastal Awareness Committee. So welcome everybody. I've got Mr. Stuart Cove from Stuart Cove, Bahamas. I've got Charlene Carey from BREEF, Bahamas Reef Environment Educational Foundation, and Mr. Jared Dillett from, obviously very wonderfully wearing the Department of Marine Resources shirt. I love it when people come with their shirts on, so I can't forget where they are from. And obviously this is something, you know, it's really close to my heart, is doing a lot of stuff here that is environmentally sort of focused, but you guys are doing an incredible both awareness raising campaign and cleanup, actually getting people out there and doing stuff. So tell me what's going on this month.
Sure, well, we have lots of stuff going on. So this is the 8th year for the Coastal Awareness Month. And during this month, we have a bunch of public and private stakeholders who get together to increase awareness about the coast. And so we have a whole slew of activities, from cleanups, t-shirt days, school competitions, a variety of things.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit why 8 years. I didn't even realize it had been going on that long. So congratulations just on that. But why? Why do we need coastal awareness? You know, let's do the basic stuff first.
There was a concern a number of years ago, roughly 8 years ago, voiced by a lot of visitors to our shores. They saw a lot of debris and trash and what have you on the beaches. Obviously this was bad for tourism, among other things. So the Ministry of Tourism started the Coastal Awareness Initiative, and they were able to garner support from public and private sector agencies, and it's just snowballed and hopefully gotten better every year since then.
So here we see the positive influence of tourism, which can sometimes be a concern for the environment, but here we see the positive side of it, and that it actually was the spurring factor to get us concerned about this, because it's not just tourism though. Obviously there's economic factors involved, but I know that along, or perhaps with tourism, we have development, we have movement into filling up our mangroves. We don't need these swampy things anymore. All these sorts of things happen. So what are sort of some of the main messages you want to get out this month?
All right, so some of the messages we want to get out is that everybody can make a difference, right? So we have identified 5 threats to our coast, that is pollution, invasive species, habitat destruction, climate change, and overfishing. And this month we're focusing on 2 in particular, overfishing as well as climate change.
Now climate change is obviously a big deal, being in the news for forever and ever, it seems now at this point. And it's always, I feel like we in the Bahamas, along with all other small island nations with very low elevation, should be the most concerned.
We should.
So explain a little bit about why perhaps climate change is important. You said everybody can do something. Climate change, I think, is one of those things that we think, oh, the big guys are who count. The big carbon emitters are the problem. Like, what can we do as individuals?
Absolutely, and it sounds really confusing. It sounds real science-y and stuff. But basically, we need a lot of energy to run our stuff at home, right? So kids are playing video games. We have our cell phone chargers plugged in. We want to drive our cars, jump in the plane to take a vacation. So we need fuel to do this. In order to get energy from that fuel, we have to burn that fuel. And one of the waste products, I guess, is greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide. So the idea is that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere helps to keep our Earth warm. Yes. So the more there is, the warmer the Earth will be.
Even warmer it becomes.
Exactly.
And given that it's April and it really feels like it's the middle of August, and I know these little anecdotal tales are not the way to explain climate change, but man, you know, it's
we have to wonder. You have to wonder, right? So what we can do, save energy. So yesterday, the compact fluorescent light bulb initiative was launched. So we have things that are going on in our country now for us to reduce our energy.
Tell about this, because I know this was a long time in the planning, but so now we're actually, this is the distribution of the compact fluorescents here?
Right, yeah. So the Ministry of the Environment started a program yesterday where they're going to distribute light bulbs to households throughout the country. So something as simple as changing to a more energy efficient light bulb can make a difference. So there are complex things that the government can do, look into alternate sources of energy, but there are simple things that we can do. Unplug your cell phone, put a timer on your water heater.
All these things, get a solar water heater, all sorts of wonderful things that we can be doing, right? So there's climate change, and then the other focus is overfishing. And now, Stuart, you're out there and have been out there for many, many years. Do you actually see, can you see any difference in the Bahamas now than, let's not say too long ago, say 20 years ago? Like, let's
I tried 40 years ago. No, we can definitely see a change in the abundance of fish. The marine resources degraded quite a lot in the last 40 years, diving it almost on a daily basis in that time.
We're sort of like a walking archive of our fish populations out there.
But the Department of Marine Resources, working with government, is trying to turn 20% of the country into a marine park or a reserve, where fish species will be protected and will be able to breed and replenish the resource.
Which is just such an incredible initiative. And do we have a timeline for that goal? I know it's probably fairly far off, but do we have a timeline for that?
Well, the deadline is 2020.
It is 2020, okay.
20% of our
fantastic
nearshore marine resources.
And I mean, this is just incredible. I spent a lot of time in Costa Rica, and what's so amazing there is on the other side, on their land side, but they now have 20% of their land resources are parks or in protected areas. But so much of the Bahamas is water. So that's exactly where we should be showing our protection. So that's great. What do you think when tourists, because you also deal with them, are visitors on a daily basis, what do they ever seem concerned, or do they think it's a good idea that we're going to be protecting them in these parks?
No, everybody sees the positive aspects of protecting the resource. But one of my pet peeves is we're not doing this for the visitors. We don't do our Coastal Awareness Month for the visitors. Maybe that's what spawned it, but we're doing it for us as Bahamians.
Right.
We want to live in a clean, pristine environment, and it's for us. And
yes.
A lot of the things that we do as our Coastal Awareness Month is to involve the community. So our people will get buy-in into what we're doing. We don't want to go into an area and clean it up for folks. We want to go into that area and work with them.
Have them clean it
and
up.
Help them clean it up with us.
All of us. Yes.
And then they're going, this is good. I've put a little bit of sweat and effort into this.
Yes.
So let's keep it up. And they see how nice it is to live in a clean yard, a clean neighborhood.
And so nice when you go to your own little beach where there really are no visitors who go to a lot of the beaches that we're hanging out at. And instead of exactly finding all this stuff, and I don't even want to talk about on air half the things that you find on the beach, but it's so nice when you can go and it's not there. So that is right. This is all involving the actual community members.
And we've had some great successes. We've gone into Rock Sound, Eleuthera, and they had the blue hole there. It's
yes,
kind of like a central,
which was a disaster for so long.
And we work with the community leaders and the community itself, and we cleaned it up, and they really have bought into it. And we don't go back there anymore because they have built benches, they've cleaned it up, and it's become a real center of activity for folks to go on the weekends and recreate.
It is, and it is true, because for a long time, because I grew up in Eleuthera, so, in the beginning, in the 70s, it was still nice, and then I remember going back in like 94, 95, and it was nasty. It was like a trash receptacle. And then going back recently, again, it is this wonderful thing. So you guys are making a difference, or you're helping other people make a difference, which I guess is much more what you're saying.
We're the catalyst to help folks clean up and to bring awareness to these communities to, hey man, you can make a difference.
And beyond the cleanup, to keep it on this overfishing for just a little bit, what should we be focusing on with this? Obviously, we have a grouper season, we've got our lobster season, we've got these different things. But are there other things people should just be thinking about, or just actually should we just pay attention to the existing regulations?
Paying attention to the existing regulations is a start, obviously, but I think what's important now is for people to really develop a personal appreciation for what we have. And when they actually go there, I'm not saying it's wrong to fish, because I love to fish just like everybody else. Yes. But when you go out and you fish, give it a second thought, or give it some thought. Like, how much of this fish do I see? Should I take a conch that doesn't have a well-formed lip? Should I take a small grouper? All of these things. Should I fish Nassau grouper out of season? All of these things help to protect the environment, not the environment, sorry, but these different species. And if you develop a personal fishing philosophy, it goes a long way into actually protecting those resources. I
love that personal fishing philosophy, and I'm going to steal sort of one of the other ladies who's at Brief, Casuarina McKinney. One of the things that she has always said that I totally buy into is we want to have grouper for our grandchildren, and it's really tough when I'm fortunate enough to travel around in the Caribbean, and there are so many countries that used to have spiny lobster, used to have grouper, and there's no...
Used to have conch.
Yeah, used to have conch, and now there are no populations that are viable in any sense there, and that's just terrible. So if you all want boiled fish for your grandchildren, this is sort of the important factors. We're going to take a quick break, but then when we come back, we're going to talk some more about the beauty of this wonderful ocean that you see behind us, our coastal areas, and even some of the areas that aren't quite as beautiful, but are just as important. So come back with us after the break.
He breaks you the bush crying.